have to, from here on down, you have to use custom. Okay? Questions on that one?
So that's a file that we're creating that doesn't exist.
That doesn't exist. Exactly. Yeah. So if you want to print to that file, even though it says print, we're not really printing, because printing, we think in terms of printing to a printer, right? What we're doing in this case is writing to that file. Okay, so we're going to write to that file, but the guy decided to call print writer. Okay? But in fact, what you're doing is writing to the file. And so again, you have to tell him again in case he forgets that that's what we want. And then, okay, what file do we want to print to? So we want to print not to the name that we have here on the hard drive, but to the name that we use here. You see how complicated that is, and instead of doing something as simple as this? In C, this is how you open it. And to write it, you put F. Forgot. But it's very simple. You remember? Okay. Anyway, so here, what is it we're going to do? What we're doing is we have the famous loop over here. And this loop starts in 10. And then it goes down to 0. And you take 1 out. In this particular case. And then what I'm doing is, I'm taking this guy here. This output guide, all it's going to do is going to write to that file that it knows that is this customer file. Okay. So over here we says output, which is this guy. Then we use print line. So this guy here has a lot of methods. One of the methods is called print line, and it's used just like the print line that we know about. And I'm printing the X over here, so the first time we're going to print the 10, then the 9, and all of that to 0. Okay. This line over here is just to display on the screen what is it that's happening, what is it writing. Okay. So once if you finish writing to the file, probably the most important thing you have to do is to close the file. So the file here was output, right? The print writer. So you go ahead and do that guide output. He has another method called close, and then you close it. So what happens if you don't close the file? First, you might get garbage in there, and then when you go back to the file, you're going to get data that makes no sense. Second, you might lose the whole file. Okay. Depends on how you shut down the server or the computer. Okay. Especially for the IT people here, on the servers, you can log out of the program without closing the file. But on the server, the file still exists as being open. So the file hasn't been, the data has not been written. Okay? And that could create a problem, especially with large files. And Outlook does that a lot. A lot. You shut down the machine, it's totally closed. It's not the machine that is done, it's closed. Then the next morning you open it up and you try to log into Outlook, you can't, because it says that someone is in it. So you have to go to the server and shut it down. So this is very, very important. So this section here is only to write a file. There's another section, I have 30 seconds, okay? If you already have a file and you do this and you try to open it again, whatever data was there is gone. That's how they complicate this stuff.
The same method.
If you use the same method, because you want to add data to that one, then you go ahead and use this same method, you will erase what you had there, it overwrites it. Right? So next class we'll find out how to solve that problem. Okay? Have a nice weekend. And everybody was happy with the results from